Hello and welcome to a very special show we have for you this afternoon. It's time to announce our 2023 American Association Postseason All-Stars. I'm Matt Yeazel with the American Association, pleased to be with you to announce these very special awards. Our regular season concluded yesterday. Our postseason begins tomorrow night. We can't wait to see what the playoffs have in store and who will be crowned the Miles Wolf Cup final champion. But we have to honor what a great regular season it was first and honor the players who had a bigger impact at their position than anyone else in the league. So just a couple of notes before we get started. Again, our playoffs begin tomorrow night, so stay tuned for a playoff preview whip around on all of our social media channels. Today, we'll get you ready for the playoffs as well as wrap up the regular season. And in terms of these postseason All-Stars, we have awards for one player at every position. This is not separated by the East and West divisions like the midseason All-Star game is. We have awards for one relief pitcher, one starting pitcher, one player at every position around the diamond, including, of course, 3 outfield spots, as well as a designated hitter and a utility player. So these are honoring the best player at every position around the league, encompassing the entire American Association. So without any further ado, let's dive in to our postseason All-Stars, and we're going to start with the arms. So the relief pitcher postseason All-Star in 2023 comes to us from the Sioux Falls Canaries, and that is closer Charlie Hasty. Hasty, in his third season with the Sioux Falls Canaries, made quite the jump, moving into the closer's role, appearing in 44 games this season and finishing atop the league with 22 saves on the season after not recording a save in the previous 2 seasons. He finished with a 2.28 ERA as well. What an arm at the back of the Canaries' pen. Charlie Hasty is a postseason All-Star. And for the starting pitcher, we're staying in Siouxland, and that is Solomon Bates, the starting pitcher, postseason All-Star. Solomon, the strikeout leader for a very strong majority of this season. He finished the year with 124 punch-outs in his 126 innings pitched on the season. He finished with a 3.57 ERA as well, a 10-6 win-loss record in his 20 starts. Solomon Bates of the Sioux City Explorers is a postseason All-Star. Moving on to the diamond, and we have another Canary as a postseason All-Star, and that's first baseman Mike Hart. Hart, the veteran in this league, his 5th season with Sioux Falls, had arguably his best season of his career, tying for the league lead with 26 home runs on the season while hitting just over 300. He also finished with 69 runs batted in and 88 hits, both career highs in the association for Hart. Mike Hart is a postseason All-Star. At second base, we have none other than BRYAN TORRES, the back-to-back batting champion in the association. He finished with a 370 batting average this season, just 4 points lower than his average a year ago, but he added some power this year, hitting 11 home runs and, not to mention, breaking the league's stolen base record with 71 stolen bags in 90 games this year. BRYAN TORRES is a postseason All-Star. Elsewhere in the East Division at the shortstop position from the Chicago Dogs, it's Josh ALTMANN. ALTMANN spending 2 years with the Lincoln Salt Dogs before moving back home to Chicago, and he enjoyed another incredible season in this league, finishing tied atop the league with 88 runs batted in and also finishing second with 26 home runs. He hit just under 300 and also finished with 20 fewer strikeouts than last season, got on base more, and overall had arguably his best season in the league. Josh ALTMANN is a postseason All-Star. Moving one more spot around the diamond, our third baseman comes to us from north of the border, and that is DAYSON CROES. CROES, in his first season in the league, certainly made quite the first impression, finishing 4th on the batting average leaderboard at a 351 clip, while also leading the league with 135 total hits. He came to the American Association right after his college career and certainly looks to build on this great first season. DAYSON CROES is a postseason All-Star. Moving on to the outfield, CROES is joined by his teammate in Winnipeg, the reigning player of the year, Max Murphy. Murphy backed up his player of the year season after suffering that injury in last year's playoffs. He came back and had another incredible year, tying for second in the league along with HART and ALTMANN with 26 home runs while also driving in 84 runs on the season. Max Murphy, for the second year in a row, is a postseason All-Star. Elsewhere in the outfield, we go down south to Texas. Hill Alexander is a postseason All-Star. Alexander took his very solid 2022 season and improved upon it, playing all 100 games this year and finishing with over 100 hits and 23 home runs on the season. The slugger drove in 70 runs and hit 286 as part of a Cleburne Railroaders offensive attack that went after teams all year long. Hill Alexander is a postseason All-Star, and he is joined by none other than his teammate Zach Narrier. Cleburne Railroaders outfielder Zach Narrier on this list for the second year in a row, and what a season it was for Narrier, his fifth in the league, and another great one, driving in 80 runs while hitting 289 and 15 home runs on the season. Not to mention, he was this year's Home Run Derby champion at the All-Star game in Milwaukee, and he just had his own bobblehead night in Cleburne. Zach Narrier, once again, is a postseason All-Star. Moving on to the catcher position, the backstop postseason All-Star is Chris Herrmann, and what an entrance to the league it was for the former major leaguer Chris Herrmann. He finished with 23 home runs to go along with 88 runs batted in, tying ALTMANN atop the league. But he had a whopping .355 batting average to go along with the gaudy power numbers. He was a fixture in the Monarchs' run to the top of the West all year long and will be a big reason why the Monarchs will be a tough out. Chris Herrmann is a postseason All-Star. Two more to announce. Our utility player is Cam BALEGO of the Milwaukee Milkmen. BALEGO, in his first season in the league as well, was quite an addition for the Milkmen, hitting over 300 this season while tying for the team lead with 13 home runs. He also drove in 63 runs while playing games defensively, mostly at catcher with Roy Morales' injury early on in the season, but also spending time all around the diamond at third, first, short, and second. Cam BALEGO is your postseason All-Star utility player. And finally, our final postseason All-Star on this list is Jabari Henry, the third Sioux Falls Canary on this list, and he, along with Hasty, his teammate, are the only ones who were not midseason All-Stars. What a second half it was for Henry. He finished with 73 runs batted in on the year with 19 home runs, and he also led the league by a wide margin with 89 walks on the year. A patient and powerful hitter. In his sixth season with Sioux Falls, he scored a career-high 78 runs as well, and now the Slugger has his second crack at the playoffs with this Canaries team. Jabari Henry is a postseason All-Star. So there you have it. Those are your 2023 postseason All-Stars. Congratulations to all of these players for incredible seasons, putting on a show all year long. And again, the playoffs begin tomorrow night. We'll have a playoff preview whip around later on today, so stay tuned for that and tune into all the playoff games at aabaseball.tv, and stay tuned to all of our social media channels for the best coverage you can get. I'm Matt Yeazel for the American Association, where we play to win.